feeling building inside of me. I can't hide it, I need to let it be free. I don't know how you're gonna take to it, but if you understand just a little bit, oh, follow me, show a burning desire. Follow me, set your heart on fire. Follow me, take your love, take your love. Follow me, high above, high above. It's like I'm coming home alive again. Never felt so good since way back when. Fill me up, I'm breathing in clear air. This is contagious, something I've got to share. Follow me, show a burning desire. Follow me, set your heart on fire. Follow me, take your love, take your love. Follow me, high above, high above. There's a feeling building inside of me. I can't hide it, I'm gonna set it free.
I've been told that you can make the mold of what you want to be, so stay true to me. I've been told that you can make
What's going on, guys? And as you can probably hear behind me, we're here at the Speedmachine Festival at the legendary Silverstone racetrack. But most importantly, we're here for one reason. We are here to crown the first ever Volkswagen DiRT World Champion. The drivers are ready, we're ready, so let's go inside. Yes, indeed. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome along to the iconic Silverstone race circuit here at the Speedmachine Festival for the first ever Volkswagen World Championships, DiRT World Championships. It's going to be a fantastic occasion. We're about to make history today and crown our first ever world champion. My name is Mark Hatcher. I'll be guiding you through all of the action today, but of course, I cannot do it without my good friends here alongside me. Of course, in the middle, we have Andrew Cole. You've been very busy today, Andrew. How are you feeling, buddy?
I'm tired, dude. I'm tired already. But no, I'm really, it's great to be here. I'm in uniform this time because I'm on official duty with the FIA World Rallycross Championship. We're joined this weekend by the ARX, America's Rallycross, which is a brand new series. But it's a pleasure to be here for the final of DiRT 4 World Championship too. So we got a whole bunch of championships going on. Let's hope I don't name check the wrong one.
You'll be absolutely fine, mate. And of course, joining me on the end is the brick to my Ron Burgundy. How are you doing? Luke Crane, our resident racing expert. How are you doing, buddy?
I'm wonderful, thank you. Not quite as busy as you, by the sounds of things. But yeah, lovely to be here. It's now sunny as well. It's been a bit rough this morning, but nice sunny weather. Real rallycross outside. Virtual rallycross here. You two as well. It couldn't get any better, let's be honest.
That's very, very true. Well, let's remind everybody how we have got to our grand finals here today. When we got underway, we had 20,000 drivers involved in our first ever DiRT World Championships. It's been an incredible spectacle. In our quarterfinals, we narrowed it down to just 32. Then we got to our semi-finals. 18 drivers came in and just 6 remain. These are the 6 best drivers in the world on our stage today. They came from all different consoles. So we had Xbox One, we had PlayStation 4, and of course we had PC players involved. But now, gentlemen, one thing that we have to highlight is they're all playing on these fantastic sims. And Luke, I know that there's something that's very, very close to your heart.
They are thrustmastered to their minds. They're on the TSXW, which is from Thrustmaster. They're using the R383 Rally rim as well, with a TSS handbrake. They've got the TH8A shifters as well, and also a play seat. So yeah, they're thrustmastered out of their mind. It's crazy.
He knows everything.
I'm loving
and
the
Andrew,
technical
very
stuff.
quickly, I mean, obviously comparing to the real life rallycross cars and rally cars that we're seeing here at Silverstone. I mean, how do they compare to you?
Well, I want to use words like anti-lag now and start settings and boost and so on, because that was very technical and cool. Do you know what? I'm glad to see they've all got proper handbrakes, and it's good to see them all in the room. You know, this is physical now. They're here. This is a land final, I believe, isn't it? This is what we call it. Luke taught me this the other day. I thought that was pretty cool. That's new to me. You know, but again, we're going to see how this goes down now. They're sitting next to each other. They're not in their own little room at home in a comfort zone. We've got a crowd here watching them as well. It's great to have a load of people along for DiRT 4 World Championship, so
it's
great
stuff. It's going to be awesome. But just remember that it's not actually just us here today. It's going to be 2 other people joining us. We've got 2 guests who are going to be keeping you involved with all of the players, keeping you up to date. It is, of course, the fantastic Lottie Van Prague and Neil Cole who are going to be joining us.
Thank you so much, Mark. Gentlemen, welcome. It's so lovely to see you guys again, but I'm also so excited because I'm joined by the Neil Cole. Neil, thank you so much for coming. Welcome to the esports of Rallycross.
Oh, it's so exciting. This is like standing behind a genuine start line, start grid for a Rallycross race in the World Rallycross Championship. All I know is that I won't get blown over by the exhaust as the anti-lag kicks in. So it's super cool.
It is so cool. And of course, we've got the simulators right in front of us here as well. These guys have so much on the line today. It's the final of the DiRT World Championships, and of course they've got to think for themselves. It's a one-man team here today. They've got to know when to take that Joker lap. They've got to know when to maybe try and overtake. So much on the line. What do you think they'd be feeling right now?
Well, obviously you have to listen to your spotter. It's very important to Joker when the spotter says to Joker, and don't cut any corners because the spotter will tell you off. But of course, listening to the co-driver as well when you're in the rally stage. It's very crucial to get that balance between being careful to make sure you make the finish, but pushing to make sure you're quicker than everyone else. Easy.
Well, of course, we've also got the Speedmachine Festival happening right now. You're super busy today as well as Andrew. How has it been going so far
this afternoon? So far really good. You know, we launched ARX this morning for the first time ever, brand new Rallycross series for the North America market, and World RX, we've had 1 qualifying session, all of which is live for the first time ever. So yeah, we're pretty frantic, but I like it. You know, I live for this live, and this live is awesome.
Fantastic. Well, Neil, thank you so much for joining me today. I can't wait for the rest of it. Guys, let's get this going. Mark, it's back to you.
Thank you very much, Lottie. Fantastic to see, obviously, the guys involved and someone very close to your heart there as well, I can see.
What was making me laugh is Neil's like, yeah, you must listen to your spotter. That's because Neil is the spotter in the game. So, like, it's Neil. If you, it's, oh, of course, you're under investigation. Like, I frequently get cross with Neil. I'm like, shut up, Neil, because it's him who will say corner cutting, etc.
He'll plug his Instagram in a minute.
In English, it's Neil anyway. So these guys might not have it, but yeah, he's a good friend, and we work together on World Rallycross. So yeah, we get to travel around following this fantastic sport. So it's good to be here with this, you know.
And there you go, the amigos. There they are. But let's, if you're just joining us for the first time, obviously we need to introduce you how this grand final is going to work. So let's have a quick look at the format and see exactly what is to be expected today in our finals. Of course, we're starting off with one stage of rally with our 6 drivers involved. Then we move over to rally cross for 6 laps of action. Then we head back to a stage of rally, and then finally there we have a rally cross race to finish things off, gentlemen. 6 laps to decide who is going to be the first ever Dirt World Champion. Fantastic, obviously, to have that opportunity to call yourself that, to have that title. And one thing that we'll show you at home as well is something that this is an example of how the points are going to be breaking down. One of the leaderboards that you're going to be seeing throughout the day after the rallies, after the rally crosses, and this is exactly how things are going to work. So as you can see there, not final as we can see, we hadn't had any action as yet. The first position will be taking home 6 points, and that will go down to that last position there. 6th place will be taking just the 1 point. And of course, gentlemen, we've got to think about what are these guys playing for. You know, this is the Dirt World Championship Finals. Fantastic prizes on the line, and the most important one, and the biggest one in my opinion for that first place prize, not only this beautiful trophy that we can see here, is the opportunity for a test drive in a World Rallycross RX2 car. Andrew, we're going to come to you. How's that going to feel for these guys?
Oh, it's going to feel awesome. You know, it's going to. We talk. This is a full-on competition car. It's around 280 brake horsepower. It's a Cosworth mid-to-rear engine, 4-wheel drive, sequential gearbox, hydraulic handbrake. You know, this is a proper piece of competition kit. We've got a big jump out there on the Silverstone circuit. Yeah, absolutely fantastic prize. Along with, of course, all the gaming stuff that they win as well.
Yeah, of course. I mean, we've got some awesome stuff there, and we've some other prizes alongside. I wanted to get we've seen Andrew. You know, he's been in these cars before. I mean, how would you feel being involved with one of those RX2 cars?
There's a reason why I've not qualified for the final here. But this is a dream for some of these guys, or all of these guys. You know, they're here. They've got an opportunity to drive in a real rallycross car. It doesn't get any better than that. That is the dream for most sim racers. So yeah, absolutely amazing.
Well, it is awesome to have them all here, and it's time to actually introduce you now to our 6 drivers who are going to be involved. These are the 6 best in the world here at Silverstone, ready to compete. So let's have a look at these drivers. Starting off here in our first sim will be Oscaro Billy Cherokee, Alejandro Garcia, 21 years old from Spain. Obviously, he qualified on the PC. Bit of a smile on his face, obviously very excited. Next to him will be Zombie Slayer. He qualified on the PlayStation 4. Anders Robin Johnson, 18 years old, a young man there looking good. Giving a little wave to the camera as well. So he's feeling pretty confident about himself as well. Next to him, another driver representing Oscaro. It's going to be Oscaro Quinto. Quentin Delomo, 18 years old, coming in from France on the PlayStation 4. He qualified. Next to him will be 60th Yard, the man who's come all the way from South Africa, and a man very close to my heart. 30 years old, Nicholas Steera, going to have a fantastic opportunity here to represent South Africa. Next to him, of course, is going to be Kicked In Yo. Robin Searin there, 22 years old. He's come in from Germany, little way from the Xbox One. He qualified here through our quarterfinals and semi-finals, of course. And then finally, at the end, will be Oscaro Una Pankonen, and I'm sorry if I got your name wrong. I tried my best, but 17 years old, the Flying Finn, coming in, and he qualified, of course, on the PC. Gentlemen, a fantastic field we have there. I mean, some incredible drivers. They've all, come from 20,000 down to 6. These are the best in the world. We keep reiterating it, but it's true. But now it's time to put you on the spot a little bit. Luke, I'm going to actually start with you here. What we're going to do is we're actually going to, from 20,000 down to 6, Luke, who is your favorite? Who do you think is going to be crowned our first ever Dirt World Champion?
It's the $1 million question. Like you've just mentioned, 20,000 people have tried to qualify for this point of competition, and now we're down to the final 6. There's nothing to separate them, but I've got to go with my boy, Kicked In Yo. He is a member of my team, so I've got to go with my boy, and hopefully,
favoritism.
Hopefully he sorts it out for us, eh?
Recently signed member of the team, I think, isn't it? Was that as a result of the semi-finals?
I'm like the Harry Redknapp of the transfer.
Well, some of the action from the semi-finals here, Luke, if you want to talk us through it, exactly, why you're backing this man.
Well, he's just very committed and very consistent, and as you can see here, he pulled off what I would say was move at a semi-final. actually on his teammate, it turns out now. It's Davey M there on the inside. And just going around the outside here of turn number 2 at Lydden Hill. And the move wasn't quite done here. You could see that Davey M was trying to give him a little bit of nudge in there as well, and they really did push hard, but he did come out on top in the end, which is brilliant to see.
Well, that's Luke's favourite. As you can see, he's going to be the man to watch. There he is, ready to go in our grand finals. But interestingly enough, Luke, now that you've said that he's your favourite, we're actually lucky enough to hear a little bit from the man himself. It was actually Lottie who caught up with the man himself. Let's hear what he had to say.
Thank you so much, Mark. Robin, I'm with you here at the Dirt World Championship Finals. I bet you're raring to go. How are you feeling today? Obviously, final day.
Yeah, quite nervous, I guess, but it should be all right. I will be giving my best. I'm the underdog. I got nothing to lose, so we'll just give it everything.
I love an underdog, I really do. Obviously, you've been through the quarterfinals, the semi-finals, and now you're here. How were the quarters and semis for you?
Quite good. Had some conditions, but it went all right. Didn't become first, third in the quarterfinals and second in semi-finals, but I'm here to show what I got or what I can do.
Fantastic, I can't wait to see it. Well, actually, I spoke to Luke earlier backstage and he told me you are the favourite for this competition. So how does it feel being Luke's favourite to win?
It's kind of hard to answer. I think it's because Luke signed me up recently and I'm pretty happy to join Team Actrovision. It's a great team, great community, and I try not to disappoint him.
Fantastic. Well, he's putting his faith behind you. I'm putting my faith behind you. Good luck, and we'll see who wins. Marcus, back to you.
Fantastic stuff from Lottie there, and great to hear from Kickton Yo, your favourite to obviously take home the first ever Dirt World Championship final and become that grand champion. Now, Luke, thank you very much, and Andrew, you might have thought you were getting away with it. Unfortunately, now it's your turn. Who is your favourite to take home the title today?
Timmy Hansen. Oh, sorry, not real.
Wrong one.
Not real life. My favourite is Unipi. So Unipankinen I'm going with. I think that a dominant performance on for me, what was the strongest platform. Well, maybe not dominant, but a very, very strong performance. We saw the depth of talent on PC was absolutely massive, and for me, he's the one to watch.
Well, let's have some highlights from that semi-final performance from that man indeed. Unipankinen, 17 years old, obviously coming in from Finland. So the Flying Finn, we named him in the quarterfinals and the semis. I mean, what was so impressive for you that you saw that's made him your favourite?
A good performance across both of the disciplines for a start. There's an old saying in rallying, which is if you want to win, hire a Finn. But this was particularly impressive. The run at Lydden Hill, where he just banged in 6 laps, which were, in my opinion, absolutely perfect. It's the sort of thing we're used to seeing from drivers like Johan Kristoffersen in real life. And if you're putting in that kind of a performance, you don't give anybody the opportunity to undercut using the joke. It was absolutely bang on. You can see every inch of the track. He used the same line every time, pretty much same drift angles through every corner. It was a fantastic display, and that for me is why I was my money's on Unipi.
He's looking very relaxed as well. You can see him there. He's just ready to get into the action. You can see him, just spinning that wheel around, getting
no pressure.
Those fingers, wrist. He's ready.
So young.
He's ready to go. He's so young, but
so envious.
Looking so cool
beautiful.
on that stage. And talking about that man, obviously Unipi is the pick of the man. Next to me, Andrew Colney. There's only one more thing to do. We've heard from Kickton Yo. Let's throw it over to Lottie once again because she is there with that man himself.
Thank you so much, Mark. So I'm with Yona P right now. It's the Dirt World Championship Finals. Look at where we're at. This is absolutely amazing. We've got donuts going on behind us. How are you feeling right now?
I'm very confident. Like my rig at home is pretty similar. I have the same rim at home. I'm very excited to drive. Confident. Yeah.
Fantastic. I love it. The confidence, I can see it in you. It's amazing. Well, do you know what? Andrew told me earlier backstage that he's actually got you as his favourite to win the whole competition. How does that feel?
Oh, wow. Well, thanks to Andrew.
Thank you so much, Andrew. Well, Yona, good luck. Drive safely, and I'll hopefully see you picking up that trophy later.
Yeah, hopefully.
Thanks so much. Back to you, Mark.
Fantastic stuff, Lottie, as always. And drive safely, she was saying. I'm pretty sure that these sims don't roll over or anything, but, always good to, we want safety in here. Don't want any accidents or anything. But so that's your pick. We've obviously had Luke's pick, so keep an eye on those two drivers, Kickton Yo and Unipi, 2 guys on the desk favourite. But, gentlemen, I think we're only moments away now from getting into our first stage of rally.
Let's
and we are
do it.
going to be going over to Sweden. Very excited. I'm looking forward to this. We've been, quarterfinals, semi-finals, and now here in our grand finals. We're about to crown our first ever Dirt World Champion. Gentlemen, I'm going to throw it over to you. Obviously, we're going over to Sweden to start things off.
Sweden's really tough, I think, from a rally point of view. The stages are narrow, the snowbanks vary in terms of their height and how much you can use them. So, you've got to be super accurate to bang in a good time here. We saw that certainly in the previous rounds.
Yeah, don't give these guys a chance to warm up then. Just give them straight onto the old Sweden.
Yeah,
no
exactly.
margin for error here. There are just snowbanks left and right throughout the whole stage. trouble can happen here. You've got to be right bang on it.
Interesting, if you look down the line of drivers, we've only got one driver who's chosen to use gloves, and that is in slot number 1. So Oscaro Billy Cherokee is wearing driving gloves. The others have decided not to. Looking in terms of footwear, again, it's interesting. You guys, I know, have spoken a bit. So we've got racing shoes in slot number 3. We've got a pair of Vans down in number 1, but 3 or 4 of the drivers choosing to use only socks, and you said that's to get good pedal feel. So here we are in Sweden, then Värmland. Typical characteristics of these stages, I say, varying height of snowbank. Here you can see one which is slightly lower. You can afford to cut a little bit here. Rocks at the side of the road. There's a lot of crests where you need to settle the car down just before you get the car turned in, and we are away. So at the minute we're looking at Quinton Del Olmo getting us set off and into the stage through that right-handed junction. So Luke, your opinion on these guys, and obviously jumping onto these different setups. They've all raced at home on PC or Xbox or PlayStation. What happens when they come here and they have to jump onto the same platform? How does it affect them?
Well, I feel like these guys are the best of the best. They've qualified by right, so it's not going to affect them too much, but there may be a surprise, here. Some of these guys might actually have that setup at home, whereas others might not. So strengths and weaknesses for people. There'll be guys out there who've got the TSXW and they'll be really comfortable. There's a big mistake there, as you can see, not good at all on the right-hand side of your screen. But then, it's adaptability. There's loads of people watching them as well, which is obviously going to play in their heads, of course. That's always going to play in their heads.
The headphones, I suppose, give them a certain sense of managing to remove themselves from the room a little bit, but on riding on board here, you can see just how close it is. 2 of the drivers, I think this will probably be our top 2, is traditionally what we've gone with when we're looking at the onboard. Very close
between them. Look how close they are, though.
Yeah.
It's really good. You can tell already they are the best of the best here. You can see here on the left-hand side, just slightly ahead here, maybe by 2 or 3 seconds, quite early in the stage. We're about, a third of the way, nearly a third of the way through, and it is Una P who is taking the lead right now. He is looking absolutely dominant, as he always has done. And on the other side of the screen, we have got Robin, by the looks of things, so he is doing pretty well himself.
So in terms of strategy here, we've got 2 rallycross races, 2 rally races. You can't afford to make a mistake. These guys are the best. I think we saw during qualifying, we saw some people who are definitely rally specialists or rally cross specialists, and they came unstuck when they got into the other disciplines. It'd be very easy to see the split between the field, interesting to see the split between the field when we get to the end of the stage, to see if anybody's lost a huge amount of time, and that may give us some clues as to whether we've got someone who's really strong or particularly a little bit weak on rally. But we did see some people come back from a long way back in rally cross as well.
Absolutely. Well, we saw in the quarterfinals that it was 12 points down to 1, so a big mistake and you were in serious trouble. But today, again, like the semi-finals, it is 6 down to 1, so you can afford maybe one mistake, but then again, you are up against 5 guys who are capable of winning, every rally stage, every rally cross race as well.
So Una P, 2:12, we saw there was a 1 second gap back to Robin Johnson. That was the splits on the top right-hand side of the screen, which we got very briefly as they crossed over one of the split sections down the side. So my favourite for the event, Una P, and very, very strong on the PC. And look how accurate these guys are. If any of you have ever played this game at home, it is so hard to get in one clean run on one of these stages, and we're seeing them do it time and time again. We're talking about hours, aren't we, on the sim?
Oh, absolutely. Like you can obviously, because it's a generated stage, they're generally similar. Obviously with the corners, if you've got a 4 coming up and then maybe a 5 right, you can kind of second guess it, but these guys have had no practices on these stages. They have been generated here, so it will sort them in for the boys. I tell you, Una's lost a bit of time here.
So they're very close now, so they're within a second between the top 2, between Una and Robin. Then it was around Robin Johnson. It was 5 seconds back to Robin Sheeran. Alejandro Garcia in P5, Quinton Del Olmo in P4, then P5 for Quinton, P6 is Nicholas Steer. Left-hand side of your screen gives you a little idea, doesn't it, of how close it is at the top. We're riding on board with Robin Steeren at the minute, who is 3rd, and just a little way off, so the ultimate pace seems to be between Una P and Robin, doesn't it? We haven't really seen any mistakes, but obviously you're only watching the one car at a time.
Yeah, absolutely. You can see it on the next split, it's still just within a second there between
5.7,
Robin Johnson as well.
Back to Robin Steeren. Let's see what the gap is back to Alejandro. 11 seconds back, so we're starting to see the gaps open up now as we're getting further through the stage. In terms of distance, this one is a 70% length stage. Again, if you're familiar with the game, you'll know that's pretty long, but more important than that, the complexity on this has been set to 75%. So if you're new to Dirt 4, we have a stage generator in the game, and you can basically say, right, I want a stage which is 75% long, I want it 100% complex, and that will mean a lot more corners that are tighter with more complicated notes in it, compared to the next stage we're going to see actually is going to be a lot more open, and that will be a lot more committed, but these guys are fully committed anyway.
Oh wow, you see Una P here. Like, from your experience, the first round, do you take all of the chances there? Do you try and get a lead, or do you just take it casually? Because Unip is definitely not taking it casually right now.
From a real life point of view, I was always pretty good first thing in the morning. You just go straight out, and what you would find is that other drivers would wake up further during the day, and then they'd start to, get onto pace. That can be a bit frustrating if you're really flying first stage, and then they start to close you down here, maybe a bit quicker. But I was always pretty good in the first run. But I think these guys have played this enough that probably you could throw any stage at them and they're going to be on it. But how much of a risk they're taking, I don't know. I'd be interested to know. Maybe we can get Lottie or Neil to ask the drivers afterwards, what their strategy is. How much risk do you take? If you put it off now, okay, we're saying 10 seconds is a big gap. It's not. If you played this game, if you end up in the crowd, it's an instant penalty of several seconds. If you need recovering again, same thing. So we're approaching the end of the stage now. 2 seconds between Una and Robin Johnson. Robin Siren is plus 9.8, then plus 15, and plus 19 for Quinton Delano. So I wonder if there was a problem there for Quinton later on in the stage.
Yeah, see Una P here, and obviously Robin Johnson, they're doing very, very well here. Very, very close. It's only going to take one mistake here right at the end for Una to lose this, by the way.
The dip crest that you saw there that Una came through, you need real caution as you go through there. So the car squats and then lifts, you find it go light and it won't respond in the same way. But Una P crosses the finish line. He takes the first stage by 1.9 seconds from Robin Johnson. So great drive. There we are on board with Quinton Delano. Who is having a bit of a problem towards the end of the stage, bit sideways, possibly a puncture. We haven't seen how much time he's lost. Robin Siren has crossed the line, 10 seconds back for P3. Nicholas Steer, plus 16.9, has managed to gap Alejandro Garcia, 19.5, and then it is Quinton Dalolmo who takes P6. So well done, I think.
Look how cool he looks.
Yeah.
Look how cool Una looks. That's amazing.
Very good indeed. Super relaxed, but 3 more to go and all to play for.
6 points straight off the bat, though. Lovely work from him.
Perfect start. Perfect start.
6 points on the board, exactly how he would have wanted to start this off. And what does that do for a driver's confidence? Obviously, you've been waiting all day to get into this action. You've had all these qualifiers, you've flown in here. To get 6 points on the board, that's got to be a huge boost for him.
He does look super relaxed, I have to say. His confirmation of that result, in fact. So we had a couple of seconds between them. Nicholas Steer got a 4-second penalty, if you have a look at that. I don't know whether that would have seen him up one place from where he was. So that's usually an off into the crowd, a cut. Quinton Delano, how much back in the end? Not so much, just half a second off the place in front. So Nicholas actually was lucky not to drop right to the back with a 4-second penalty. But, for Una, a great start. The Finns as a racer tend to be extremely relaxed. We talked to Niklas Gronholm on the grid here. I'm like, Niklas, how's it going? You all fired up to get in the car? He's like, I'm okay, I'm ready. And it's just always
focus, laser focus in that zone.
Just super laid back. And so, if Una can maintain that attitude through the rest of this final, it's a great start. But 3 to go. All to play for.
Very much so. And of course, they are the results from in-game. We do have an adjudication process to go through, so we will get a confirmed result. We just want to make sure that obviously all the drivers and everything was completely fair in that race. There was nothing that shouldn't have happened that happened. So that's the leaderboard from in-game. We'll bring you the final leaderboard in just a second. But I mean, Luke, Una P, he was Andrew's pick, not to, worry you too much. Your man was in third place there, I believe, Kittin Yo. But, it was just almost a flawless drive. And to do that on the first stage of a rally, on this stage, it's so impressive.
Not only the first stage, that's the hardest stage they'll do today. And to get 6 points on the board is a phenomenal effort. And, the next complexity is 25% in the rally stages. So, you've got the hard one out the way. In the back of your head, he's got to be feeling so confident moving forward of, potentially getting maximum points in that one as well. If he can do it in Sweden, he can do it in Australia.
Yes, very true, Andrew.
The pressure's on really now for the guys who haven't done so well, because they now know they have to do well. So Una, to be honest, if he could afford to go, okay, first rallycross race, no risk, second or third, it's good enough. The guys who are P5, P6, they've got to get in there now. They've got to smash it if they want to move themselves up the leaderboard. So might we see them take some risks?
Well, it means that we're going to definitely see some exciting racing in this first rallycross of the day, doesn't it?
Exactly. That's where the risk is going to come, yeah.
It's 2 stages of rally, two rallycross, and only a certain amount of points available, 28 points. My maths is terrible.
24. Yeah.
That's why we've got them on the. That's why we've got them on the desk. And obviously, getting those points on the board early is going to be fantastic. But moving into this first stage, this first race of rallycross now, as you say, Andrew, those people who are sat in 5th and 6th at the moment, they've got it all to play for. They've got to go hard, haven't they?
Yeah, they have. They absolutely have. They've got to get their Joker Lap strategy right. You know, I discussed whether or not you might at home have somebody to do your spotting for you. So in real life, we have a spotter. Obviously, these guys are on their own here. So
no, you're actually all of their
spotting
spotter.
for. Okay.
You've got to go quickly.
Yeah, quick. I'll run. Heads up.
But you know, so they're looking pretty calm, but they're going to have to make those decisions for themselves. They can't necessarily see what's going on behind them, and we can see some people now are starting to get focused. And I think you can see that. Whilst they're all trying to stay calm, there is a level of pressure here across the field. Absolutely.
Yeah, deep breaths you can be seen taking, can't you? That sort of calming, you know, not too much pressure on me right now. You know, it's just one stage. You know, there's still 3 stages, another rally stage to go, 2 rallycross races. This is by no means over for any of these drivers. So, I mean, Luke, I wanted to get your thoughts on something. I mean, we saw in the semi-finals, you know, the PC players seem to be a little bit of a level above. But now that we've got them all together, it seems like the field is actually fairly close, to be honest with you.
Oh, well, like I said before, 20,000 people, regardless of what platform you've been playing from, you've qualified from 20,000 people. There's not going to be too much in it with these guys. You can see that 2 Xbox guys are mixing it with the big boys as well. So it's good to see a mixture of platforms and not seeing one just stand out.
Well, it's great to see a crowd in today as well. Thank you for everyone who's obviously come along and joined us here and spectating. It's awesome to see you all involved and supporting the drivers here. It's just to put a little bit more pressure on them. We brought a few people in as well. But we're going to move on to our first rallycross race now, gentlemen. And we're actually going over to the aptly named Hell right now in Norway. I mean, what can you tell us about this track?
It's a brilliant place and it's a great name, isn't it? So we've got Hell up next in the World Rallycross Championship, and you can't resist but to say, yeah, welcome to Hell, see you in Hell, all the usual
have to,
jokes.
don't you? Yeah.
But yeah, it's a lovely little town up by Trondheim in Norway. There's a railway station with the sign Hell, which everyone goes and gets their photo taken by. The track itself is epic. The steepness of it you really don't necessarily see on the television or in the game. You know, the game does the same thing that our TV cameras do. It squashes it a little bit. It's super steep. Let's just say if you're going to go for a run, it's not the World Rallycross track to pick to jog a few laps of. It's massive. The curbs are huge here. The Joker Lap is first corner, and it's pretty spectacular in terms of tactics as to what happens on the start. You've got to react then. Have I had a good start or not? Have I been mugged? Am I on the left or the right? And somebody else can force you to Joker. We've seen that in real life. Last year we saw, maybe the year before, Andreas Backer forced Solberg to Joker on his outside, basically covering off and making sure that he would go through on the front row. So you can force other people to take the Joker when you don't want them to here because of the way the first corner is. So it's a mega track to do this on. Pressure's on.
Well, it is Hell. Hell is going to be exactly where we are heading next. Norway, of course, going to be. Luke, I want to get your thoughts on this, and actually just to break something down for maybe some viewers who are watching for the first time, you know, who aren't as familiar with rallycross as maybe, you know, some of the people that we have here at the Speedmachine Festival, and obviously yourself, you know a thing or two about it. But, you know, break down that Joker Lap for us. You know, what is the Joker Lap, and how can it affect the turnout of a race?
So the Joker Lap is like it can be an extension, or it could be quicker. On some tracks it's actually quicker, but you need to use it tactically. So for instance, if at Lydden Hill, let's say, at turn number 1, your Joker is on your left-hand side. If you start on the left-hand side, you're more than likely going to take the Joker. So sometimes you're forced by the track and by the way you've qualified on the grid to take the Joker. Other times it's about if you've got someone quicker behind you, you might feel like you want to take the Joker so you can get out in front of them and then hold them up. Or if you're quicker than the guy in front of you, then you can take the Joker and then take a couple of laps where you're in clear air and then overtake them that way.
Beautifully done. Beautifully done, Luke.
He's
That's why we're happy on the desk.
Sign me up,
so happy
WRX.
with himself.
Sign me up.
He's so happy with himself. But before we move forward, obviously we're talking about the first rallycross race. Let's have a little look back on what we've just seen, because of course it's Unip who took home that first 6 points. Huge for him. And this is a replay of that first stage of rally. I mean, gentlemen, there was, you know, some thrills, some spills, but Unip was just absolutely superb throughout, wasn't it?
Saw some of the spills there, didn't we? Of course, this was into a bank. In fact, okay, so we had a roll for one of it, and really lucky to get away with that. So
styled that one out.
Yeah, it was. So it was Nicholas Steer, in fact, who we ride on board with. In fact, Nicholas did end up on his roof, so that was probably the 4-second recovery penalty that you get for that. Yeah, you hook a bank here and you can end up in the crowd or off into the trees. There's a penalty for that. So to be as committed as Unip was to there and not make a mistake, great. But let's be honest, it was close between these guys. They're all very, very good. Yeah, it really was, and it was a lovely shot there. Just as we zoomed out, you know, you saw that what these guys are playing for. Obviously, a lot of prizes on the line here, as well as those fantastic trophies, which, you know, beautifully backed, I must say, by Luca. As it just zoomed out there, was exactly
Sunset
what we
coral.
wanted to see. Yeah, always bringing the colour to these
Sunset
broadcasts,
coral,
which is what we love about him. But let's talk ahead now. Obviously, big things to do for these drivers who are in 5th and 6th at the moment. We mentioned it before. We're just getting the lobby set up at the moment to get into our first rallycross race. So just bear with us a moment. But I mean, what do you think are going to be the deciding factors in this first rallycross that we're going to see in the day? You know, what's going to separate these drivers from each other? You know, where are the points going to be made?
The start for me. So the start in Norway is absolutely crucial. As you'll see in a minute, it's slightly downhill, then slightly uphill. The Joker lap is an open hairpin right, and the standard lap is the same on the inside. So standard lap is tarmac on the inside, Joker lap around the outside is gravel. If there's carnage on the standard lap in the first corner, you can actually end up going to the Joker and coming out in a fantastic position. Traditionally, it's pretty quick as a tactic to Joker on lap 1, but you've got to get the start. You've got to be on the left-hand side. You've got to have nobody up the inside of you, and you're hoping that there might be a bit of carnage on the inside. Having said that, if 2 or 3 people go to the Joker, there might be carnage in the Joker lap. So it's all about the start, up to the first corner through the Joker lap. Once we get these guys in a line, then we'll have to start watching the lap times, seeing if everyone's banging it in and closing the gap.
Well, carnage is what is going to be happening in hell, as that's where we're heading right now. Gentlemen, we're almost ready, so I'm going to hand it over to you to take us through the first rallycross race of the day.
I'm excited. This is going to be amazing.
I'm excited.
This is my favourite bit.
Let's do this. Okay, so the guys, obviously, in real life, they're in a line on the grid. You can take a little glance across at your competitors. I don't think these guys will. I think they're going to be fully focused on the game instead. I'm not going to quite know what the grid positions are until we see in game, and I don't know what liveries the guys are running on the cars. So here we go. Fingers crossed.
He looks confident, doesn't he?
He does. They all do.
Very happy.
Okay, here we go. So everybody, of course, running the Volkswagen Polo Rallycross, and that, of course, is because the Volkswagen R is the title sponsor of this fantastic championship. Robin Searan, Robin Johnson, Quinten Del Olmo, Alejandro Garcia, Nicola Steer and Una Pankinen. I'm not sure if that's the grid positions or not. Okay, and I think the cars are all going to be identical, which is going to make things
makes it well easy for us.
Very interesting for us. However, we have had a very special build of the game made, and that should mean that we can get you a leaderboard up on the top right-hand side. Here we go then. Ready to race light is on. Wait for that to go. It'll be a random gap of between 1.5 and 3.5 seconds. Green light and away. It was a better start on the left-hand side of the grid. We're on board with Robin Searan down towards turn 1. Looks towards the inside. Watch on the outside. Searan goes deep, straight out towards the Joker lap, into the Joker. Finds the apex. He's got someone up the inside of it. It's Alejandro Garcia trying to look down the inside on the brakes, and Del Olmo, I think, may have taken the lead on the way down the hill. Yes, so Quinten Del Olmo puts a move on in P2, turn 2, and ends up through. Joker laps, Robin Searan, Alejandro Garcia and Robin Johnson all went Joker at the first corner, Luke.
Robin Searan has just done a moment of genius there. He was on the inside. He would have slowed people up going into the Joker because they were on the outside, and they would have had to have been aware of him shooting across the driving line. And he's currently in, I believe, in 5th, actually. So Alejandro is actually back up into 4th position. But you saw the front 3 there juggling for position. And Quentin, who came last in the previous round, is leading this race here. So he's got out of the pack very, very well indeed.
So none of the front 3 have decided to Joker, including Una P, who, remember, of course, P2 here. We ride on board now with P3, looking forward at Una P. Una P is the guy who took the win in the first one. Una's got a bit of a style where he's backing it in early, getting the car straight on the exit. In real life, that makes the diffs work. It makes the car grip up. Again, watch sideways on the way into the corner, up towards the hairpin. He'll try and bring the car in, but he runs deep. Deep. Steer has a look up the inside. If he can find the track, he might get a pass on up and over the jump. He is along the inside. Pankinen's gone very deep and wide here, and he's going to get past.
Here we go.
Oh, he carries enough speed just about. He's on the outside, and Searan looks up the inside now. So there's another look on the inside. It's Nicola Steer has a look up the inside. 3 times there he managed to try and have a look at Pankinen. So now, do you, if you're Nicola Steer, do you take the Joker lap and try and get yourself in clear air? Or if you're Una P, do you maybe take the Joker lap and try and take this pressure off? He cannot close down on Quinten Del Olmo in front because he's having to drive defensively.
One of them has to go in a Joker because you can see Alejandro, who already has Jokered, is closing up here on the bottom 3. And also Quentin is now extending his lead. Remember, he came 6th in the first rally stage. But look, with Robin Johnson and Robert Searan now down in 5th and 6th. But again, they have Jokered. So it's going to be interesting to see. I think Nicholas has done the Joker now. Did he come out in 3rd?
We're waiting for the indicator to light. But no, Nicola Steer. So, okay, we saw Steer there just in front of us. I think we're on board with P4, who has Jokered. So the 2 guys here in 2nd and 3rd, I think it's Steer and it's
I think Nicholas has come out in front.
They're in serious danger. You think he's done the Joker and come out? Need to see the Joker indicator up on the screen. We'll get that up for you just a second.
Yeah.
Now, the leader, this as well is about how long they stay out. Now, traditionally, if you're in the lead at this point, you're going to hold on until lap 6. But
absolutely.
You've got to try, get the laps in, get enough of a gap to be able to do it. Nicholas says that he hasn't taken the Joker. So Pankinen is holding these guys up now. Yeah. Alejandro Garcia has lucked out a bit here because for me, he's the quickest guy. But having Jokered early, he's now caught the back of the pack. He's going to really struggle to close the gap down. Quinten Del Olmo, what's the gap back? It's 3.7 to Nicola Steer, 4.0 to Garcia, and I think it's quicker than that, the Joker lap here.
Yeah, absolutely. Alejandro now is really in trouble with these 2 guys, but he will get up into 2nd position, so it's not all lost for him. He has Jokered.
It's a good run. It's a good run.
It's a very good run indeed. Oh, he's got bogged down there on the curve. That's not good for him at all. And it's one of these 2 front guys going to Joker. Yeah,
They've both gone in. They've both gone in. So Del Olmo
It is
goes
lap
in.
6.
Alejandro Garcia as well. Pankanen drops in. So everybody has now Joker, and Quinton Del Olmo, according to our screen, is the leader right now.
Big mistake here.
Pankanen's in the gravel, so Unip has had an off into the gravel. He's dropped down to P4. Johnson's ahead of Roca Garcia is second, but out front, Quinton Del Olmo on the last lap will surely be rounding the left and then the right over the crest. You can see him in the distance. He's about to cross the line. Quinton Del Olmo is going to take the first race here at Norway. Hell Circuit falls to him. Alejandro Roca Garcia is going to take second. Robin Johnson and Unip in fourth.
What a way to respond. 6th position in the first rally stage. Comes bang out. 6 points in the second race there. Fair play to him.
So there's Unip, still looking relaxed. Fourth in that. It's not the end of the world. As I said, the thing is he can afford to have a not perfect result there. That didn't necessarily go his way. It was interesting that 3 guys joking on the first lap. For me, if more than one car has gone in front of you, you don't go. Having said that, here, the speed at which you go into the joker lap, you're fully committed. So if he's already decided I'm going in, you can't get the car turned into the inside line. So we've actually seen at one race last year, all 5 people went into the joker lap on the first lap. If you've committed, or if you're maybe copying the braking point of the other drivers, you end up in there. But it's a great win for Quinton Del Olmo.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. You can see the scores in game here. The final leaderboard. You can see, Luke, I mean, you had something to point out there very quickly.
Yeah, so the 2 guys in second and third, do you feel like they, after lap 1, maybe lap 2, had already given up on first position and were trying to cover each other off? Just trying to get that second position?
For me, if you don't think you can catch up with the leader and you're running second or third, you might as well joker to cover off the guys behind. If you've got fast guys behind you, you've jokered already, then in theory, you know, they're putting in the laps to try and close that gap down to you. So if you don't think you can catch the leader, I would have jokered earlier to try and cover off the guys behind, because at least then you can try to stop them passing. If you look at Unip, he managed to hold some of the guys off behind him for quite a while. So interesting, but you know, it was a first corner joker, so
inexperience, in the discipline, maybe
pressure,
absolutely,
you know, pressure. 3 guys went in, as I say. Yeah, maybe the people on the left side of the grid were like, I'm going to joker. We don't know. Be interesting to find out afterwards.
Robin Siren going from the inside and jokered on the first lap. And that, in retrospect now, in hindsight, that's a mistake.
Yeah,
it's cost him 6th position.
And in theory, it's the fastest way to go. Joker lap 1 at Hell has traditionally been very good from a lap time point of view. Anyway, that's the result.
Well, it's going to be awesome, gentlemen. Obviously, a fantastic rallycross race there. But one person that we've actually caught up with who is a real-life rallycross driver, we have Ollie Solberg, I believe, who is currently sitting with Neil Cole.
Yeah, this guy is like the living embodiment. It's like an avatar of what Dirt 4 is all about, because Oliver Solberg, the name is, as you would imagine, he's the son of Peter Solberg. But you are a rallycross driver and a rally driver, and you're 16 years old. So chapeau, you've got the best life in the world.
Yeah, it is, of course. I'm lucky, you know, but I have to take the chance I have and do the best of it and just go flat out, you know.
By the way, you're checking the times on the Norway rallycross track there. What's your best lap time?
I think yesterday I did on the simulator outside the tent, 34.0.
34.0?
Yeah.
So despite the fact that some weekends you're rallycross, that's Rally X Nordic, right? Some weekends you're rallying, you still put in a lot of hours on Dirt 4.
Yeah, I've done a lot of hours of it. Yeah, I play quite a lot. It's quite good to get a good consistency. It helps a little bit, yeah, it does. And yeah, every weekend, flat out every weekend. Race with my father, me, and then my father again, and then me. So it's every weekend.
I've known you since you were very, very small, and I'm not particularly tall myself. What I've impressed with is you're 16 years old, and you're already sort of competing with people double your age in rallies and in rallycross. Will you continue to do both? Because, of course, your dad is world champion in both. Can you imagine matching his success?
I'll maybe do both for a couple of years now, and then I probably have to choose which direction I want to go. But rally is, of course, the direction I want to go now. But maybe in a couple of years, maybe rallycross, I don't know. But, of course, my goal is to be double world champion as my father in 2 different sports, and then maybe 4 or 5 in rally, and then maybe 4 or 5 in rallycross. Yeah.
Just a mildly ambitious young man. And in terms of these guys, have you got any tips for any of the guys sitting in the seats from someone who can beat them on the machine and beat them out in real life?
No, I think they drive good on the machine, so I can't give any tips now, really.
Well, there we go. Oliver Solberg is master here and master out there. Back to you, Mark.
Thank you very much, Neil. What a fantastic person to find, you know, hovering about here at the Speedmachine Festival. 16 years old. I mean, incredible. I mean, unbelievable to have someone at that age with achieving the success he has.
Oliver and his dad have both been involved in the development of Dirt 4, and I know they've both been across to Cody's and played the game. And, you know, they take that feedback quite seriously because they're looking to make this as realistic as they possibly can. So you get someone like Oliver who competes in both. But it's interesting him saying what he wants to do from a career point of view. You know, his dad went and did rallying first and then came back to rallycross later on. He actually did rallycross when he was younger, but from a professional point of view, Petter concentrated on rallying first. And I kind of feel like it's Oliver's first love, but it's an extremely expensive sport, and his father happens to own and run a World Rallycross Championship team.
It's always good, isn't it? Yeah, it's always useful.
I think I might go and do rallycross personally. If you know the sport's flying at the minute, and I wonder if we might see Oliver do that in a couple of years.
Now, Luke, let's talk a little bit about the rallycross that we've just seen. Obviously, an incredible race and a real turnaround. To be honest with you, from the first stage of rally, you know, we've seen that. I believe it was the player who was in last place actually took first place there, so 6 points on the board for him.
For us, that's absolutely perfect. We want to see this in the balance right until the end. But again, we'll go back to tactics and a little bit of an experience. But you can see here, they're just Robin battled with Alejandro for pretty much the whole race here. Robin ended up going in last position. But it was the battle between Unip and Nicholas Steer. And I think they've cost each other the opportunity to potentially win this race. But let's not take anything away from Quentin. He absolutely smashed it from start to finish.
He did, and Unipi's driving style, you know, he's using every inch of the road, a really wide entry, and in fact that was how he got somebody up the inside of him in turn one. In terms of an absolutely perfect lap time, it's right, it's the correct style. Points totals here, go on.
Yeah, here as you can see, this is actually the confirmed results after our adjudication process and how we stand right now. So in first place, Oscaro Unipi with 9 points, but tied is Zombie Slayer on 9 points as well. So all to play for. Oscaro Billy Cherokee is in third place with 8 points. Oscaro Quinto in the fourth place there with 7 points. Fifth place kicked in your pick. Sorry to do it to you, Luke. Has 5 points on the board. And at the moment, propping up the bottom is the man from South Africa, 60th yard, sitting there on 4 points, but just a few points separating our drivers, gentlemen. We talked about how these are the best in the world, and you can see from those results and how we stand after our first stage of rally and after our first rallycross race, just how good these guys are and how closely they are matched.
It's super close, and you can't count out 60th yard or kicked in Nicholas Steele or Robin Serum. We saw that they were both in the mix in that last one. Things didn't quite go their way. But we've also seen, you know, that the mixed fortunes of our two guys who are right at the front on 9 points each, you know, and then P3 and P4, 8 and 7 points. You know, there's 1 point, basically 2 points, between first and fourth place. So a podium spot, a trophy, and nothing at all.
Yeah, and this is huge right now, isn't it? I mean, we're moving into the next stage of rally. This is a real swing moment for all of the gentlemen that you can see on your stage right now. We're heading out to Australia, gentlemen. Bit of a travel for us, obviously, from here in Silverstone, but what can you tell us about what we can expect from this stage? And, I mean, this is a huge moment for every single one of these players on the stage.
They could take a lot more chances here. There's a lot more opportunities to cut the track, and it all comes down now to game knowledge for me. You know, there's massive opportunities, but also there are corners where you feel you may be able to cut, but then there'll be a rock or a set of logs in the way, and it's game over.
Yeah, there are certain characteristics to Australia. There's two very defined parts to these stages. There's one which has got banks and fences down either side, and then for me, if you get into the forest sections, there's a big opportunity to make up a lot of time without too much risk. But we will see people using more than the road if they go through that section.
Well, here we go then, gentlemen. It's all over to you once again. We're into our second stage of rally, the final rally of the day of our Dirt World Championship finals. It's over to you, gentlemen.
Here we go then, Australia.
Got to watch out for the gullies here. Two wheels in the gully will pull you into the trees.
There's a huge number of things. We'll point the characteristics out to you as we head through the stage. You can see from the shot there, if you're familiar again with the game, that the drivers are being zoomed in. A quick deep breath, a close of the eyes. There won't be much time to blink once they get off the line. And it's going to be now ready to launch into the stage. They are.
The envy is real here.
So the length of this one is 80%,
it's dark,
and it's dark as well. Okay, there we go.
Maybe
so
not so easy.
That's going to bring in a bit of a different tactic to it. So Alejandro, we're on board with now. Lamp pod on the front of the car. So this is what we're talking about. This section here, for me, when you're in the forest, you can make some cuts to the inside and the outside, but you have to watch out again. You've got a bank, and so that it varies very much as to what you can do. Of course, the drivers haven't seen the stage before. It's randomly generated. They're going to need to make sure they get the hammer down early. There, big cut. That's exactly what I'm talking about. So you can do that. There are sections of the stage, though, which will punish you for that. We've got the signpost at the side of the road, but absolutely fully lit. Unip through here. Robin Johnson is leading at the moment from Unip. Robin Johnson, in terms of the points, is on 9. Yeah, so it's him and Unip basically at the front. So those guys were really going for it. But Johnson now has dropped down already. So only 9/10 of a second there. In fact, 2.8 between P1 and P6.
It's the good thing for Unip or so Una and of course Robin Johnson is they don't have to take as many chances as the guys behind them. Obviously, with the conditions of it being very, very dark here, you can make big mistakes. But as we can see, Unip is taking every chance. He wants to win this. He wants to get those 6 points on the board.
I think with the result that he got in the first rally stage, it would be a mistake not to go for it on this one. You know, it seemed that he had the measure of the pace of most of the rest of the field. You know, there's 1 or 2 who were on the same pace as him. So if he can bag himself 6 points here, that takes the pressure off a little bit. And Loiak, of course, the final rallycross track, the Joker lap is not in turn 1. So that, you know, things will have panned out a little bit more before they get to the Joker. So crash of gravel underneath the car there as we ride on board down on the left-hand side into one of the 90 right junctions. On the right, just a little way further back. So
let's talk about like real rally drivers. You know, they're all exceptionally good, but they have off days, right? Some days they just turn up and it just doesn't go their way. This will be the same for these guys. Unip's obviously turn up straight off the bat. He's having a good day. You just kind of get into that groove where nothing can go wrong kind of deal.
If Unip had a perfect run in the rallycross right now, I'd be feeling super confident. But to have had a not ideal run and to lose a few places just knocks your confidence that little bit. But from what you're talking about, you'll find it in real life drivers tend to refer to it as the feeling. I had a good feeling. Sometimes having a good feeling means that the car actually isn't that quick. So Timmy Hansen, real life rallycross, I appreciate we're looking at rallying here. He said back in Estering a couple of years ago, I'm finding the car really hard to drive, but it's fast. And his dad said, Timmy, you're not on holiday. And what he means by that is that, yes, it's hard to drive, but it's fast. Sometimes if it's feeling quite difficult, it's because you've got a good setup and the car is quite hard, but quite fast to drive. If it feels easy, it can mean that the car's a little bit too soft, a little bit too forgiving, and you're not putting the times in. But right now, Unip is putting the times in. And you can see
Robin
how
Searin's
quickly
come from the back, by the way. He was at last position when we last checked, and now he's up to second.
And look how quickly, though, the names are swapping positions on the right-hand side on the leaderboard. So
that's
big
what we
off
like.
There. No, that's good. It's good. That's the cut. That's the junction cut. We take the tape. If you've ever seen a picture of rally cars with tape hanging off the mirrors,
I just caught the corner of my eye. I was like,
whoa. No, it's all good. Something like that would be planned, and then you can see they avoid the signpost on the right. So a signpost is not something you want to hit. Wooden stakes and a little bit of tape. Yeah, we'll have that. No worries.
So you look at Quentin. He's currently in 5th in this run, and he's just won the rallycross. You know, you feel like he'd be really confident into this, and it's not quite clicking really with the rally sections. Seems a bit of a struggle here for him today, but Unip is just
these two are very close together. It's Unip on the right-hand side. Oh, no, sorry, that might just be P1. It's hard to tell who we're riding with on the left-hand side of the screen.
I tell you, Robin Johnson is currently tied with Unip on 9 points here, so this is really good that they're both in 1st and 2nd, and this is going to go absolutely down to the wire. Still got half a stage to go here, with Unip currently in the lead. It's about 1.1 second by the looks of things. Very, very close indeed.
It is super close, isn't it? So this stage has only got a 25% complexity, and I think you can see that from the speed of the corners. So basically less complexity usually means slightly faster, slightly longer distances in between. What that means is you're getting up to higher speed. So although it sounds easy, it's not. The commitment at high speed is massive. A mistake is punished hugely, and braking zones are much harder to judge.
And they turn the lights out.
Yeah, looking at things like 6th gear, particularly that. So if you're in 6th, a braking zone will appear suddenly. I can tell you, driving a rally car in the dark with a lamp on is a mega experience, but it's like a tunnel. It comes at you very fast, and picking a braking point at that speed in the dark, really hard.
On a tougher course, you're going a lot slower, of course, so a mistake is, you lose maybe a couple of seconds, but then if you're going, full speed, 6th gear, and you make a mistake, it's magnified by 10 easily.
Massively.
You end up on your roof, you can end up in a different continent if you're going that fast.
Fantastic onboards here. And you can actually hear Nicky Grist's pace notes, and it is still Unip that leads.
Yeah, Robin Johnson is 2nd to the top 2 in this championship. We were tied on points.
Hairpin right. Let's see how he executes this.
Weight transfer,
absolutely bang on the money. 1.2 seconds back to Robin Johnson. 2.4 Robin Steeren. 3.3 seconds back to Nicholas Steer, but those two guys are so close that it actually keeps changing between them. So looks like a 1.2 second gap between Unip and Robin Johnson at the moment.
It's coming up to the end here. We've got, well, maybe
20
seconds to go.
According to this, Una's dropped back. Unip is still appearing at the top of the board. We're riding on board with Robin Johnson, who's in P2. So Unip still leading, but look how close it is as they come towards the end of the stage.
No mistakes to be afforded here.
On the board on the right-hand side for the gaps. They'll see the 3-2-1 board. Here it is. It's the end of the stage. Or destroys the timing board, but 1.3 seconds back. Unip takes his second rally stage win from 2 rally stages. He won in Sweden and he wins in Australia as well by 1.3 seconds from Robin Johnson. Robin Siren is back in P3, 6 seconds off Nicholas Steer, a further 9, 11 seconds back to Quinton Del Olmo. And Unip, a little bit of a sigh of relief there. Yeah, very well done indeed. Very well done indeed. That's going to edge it by just 1 point in the standings. So, yeah, great stuff.
Wow. It's set up nicely, isn't it, gentlemen, for our final rallycross. But that man, and we talked about him at the start, Unip, what a drive from him again. I mean, he's just so composed. It's like he's not fazed by anything right now.
He's just so young and I just love him.
Yeah, no,
absolutely love him.
Absolutely.
He's so cool.
We are talking about a very small margin. If you have a look, so 5:34.4 compared to 5:35.7 is 1.3 seconds. It's one moment where you weren't quite right. It's one moment where you just dropped back a little bit. So he's beaten Robin Johnson, but as I say, it is so close between these two.
What I find really interesting here is obviously the front two now are probably going to be separated by 1 point, but having Robin Siren go in 3rd position, he was currently 5th in the championship. That's going to put the battle for 3rd position. Obviously we've got 3 trophies here. It's not all about winning. Coming to get these 3 trophies, he's pushed himself right up in the mix here.
Biggest loser there was Alejandro Garcia, who was in 2nd place on 8 points coming into this 3rd one, and has unfortunately only taken 1 point from this rally stage. So Alejandro Garcia, Oscaro Billy Cherokee is going to drop down the standings as a result of that. And of course that does take the pressure off a little bit the front two. Remember that we had 4 drivers who were only 3 points apart coming into this rally stage, and we need to see the updated points, which I'm sure we will shortly, and that's going to tell us, is this going to be a bit of a 2-horse race? Having said that, 6 points up for grabs in the final outing, so
all to play for, as we say, all to play for going into our final race. Of course, what a turnaround for some of the drivers there, though. Again, we saw a difficult rally stage after the win. The fantastic performance in the rallycross for some. I mean, explain again for some people at home, the difference between rallycross and rally. Some drivers seem to just be better at one than the other. What can affect them on that?
Well, with a rally stage, it's you against the clock, you against your own mind. Whereas in rallycross, you can have an effect on everybody else's race. There's contact, obviously it's tactical battles with the Joker lap and stuff like that. But again, back to rally, it's just you, the track, your mind. And some people are not happy in their own space.
And sometimes the dark. I mean, the dark is a scary place sometimes, isn't it? To be honest with you, when we were loaded in, we were like, this is going to be an easier stage here. But then, the scary things that jump out in the night, they were, could have played a factor there. But now we're obviously done there. And Unip, he's sat there. He's just, he's got one hand on that trophy the beautiful trophy that you can see here. And he's about to write himself into the history books. There's only ever one first ever.
It's only 1 point, though.
There's only 1 point. That's the thing. That's why I said he's only got one hand on that trophy, because he's going to be chased down very hard now.
I've also got one hand on the trophy.
Get off. You're not allowed to touch that. He's tainted it now. We need a new one. Now, Luke. We need a new one. But let's look forward a little bit. Obviously, now we're going to be moving over to France very soon. But just before we actually do that, we're actually going to jump into an interview, because Lottie is sitting with the person who's currently sat in 1st place. It's Unip.
I am indeed. Unip, you must be so happy right now. We've just seen you play Australia in the dark. Yeah. I mean, really difficult stage. How was that drive for you?
It went very well for me, so no issues.
No issues. I can see that. No issues at all. You're at the top of the leaderboard, and of course we've got the last rallycross to go now. There's a lot riding on this. It's the World Championship final right now. Are you feeling confident going into this next one?
Yep, I'll do my best to take it home.
He's going to do his best to take it home, gents. That's all from the man leading the board right now. Marcus, back to you.
Absolutely love it, Lottie. I mean, we've got a Unip impression down. He's just about to win the first ever Dirt World Championships, and this is him. About to win. No pressure. You can see just ice in his veins.
Of course, you say just about to win, and he will know this. He knows that. In some ways as well, he's now the favourite, if you like. He's got. I think it's going to be a point when we see the standings. Lottie's over there talking to him, and suddenly you've got a TV camera in your face, and it's our first interview in the live part of the show. It's like, okay, pressure's on. I'll do my best to bring it home. That's what he says. Can he keep it calm in this last one? And he needs a better result in the rallycross this time than he had last time out. So let's see.
Is it like a swan, though? Is it, all graceful on top and underneath the water?
It's very
going
true.
crazy.
It's
inside. He's like, ugh.
It's a very good point that you make. You know, very calm on the exterior, but you know he's going to be feeling the pressure. But this is some of the replays from that last rally stage we have in Australia, gentlemen. And again, you know, Pete just seems to excel on these rallies.
Yeah, that was what I was talking about with the cuts there. You saw a lovely example of someone taking full advantage. Again here, you know, plan to come through. In fact, you could probably carry a tiny bit more speed through that corner with just a little bit more of a transition across the width of the road. And here at the finish, it doesn't matter if you destroy the final board. There's no points damage for that, you know, and that's
just
that's
concussion.
The result of
just
it.
concussion.
Well, here we go. The confirmed results before our final rallycross race of the day and our final part of the Dirt World Championships. At the moment, sat in first place, Oskaro Unipi, 15 points, but just 1 point behind him is the man from Sweden. It is Zombie Slayer, as you can see, sat on 14 points. Third place at the moment, Billy Cherokee with 9 points, Oscar Quinto 9 points, and 9 points again.
Wow.
Kitchen no points, separating third, fourth, and fifth. And 60th yard sat at the moment on a lonely 7 points. But I mean, talk about the battle for first. You know, that's insane. Any one of those top 5 could still potentially win the first ever Dirt World Championship.
It's looking very likely that it's going to be either Unipete or Zombie Slayer. So we've got a massive, hellacious battle between the top 2. But then there's still a third position trophy. And there's 3 guys all on 9 points. We couldn't have asked for anything more, really, could we?
No, we couldn't. I mean, this is exactly what we wanted, wasn't it? We don't want someone coming in and just blowing everyone out of the water. We want to take it right down to that final race, Andrew. And let's talk about what's going to be going through these guys' heads now. You know, not just the people who are in first place. That's not, you know, not just Unipi and his colleague who sat alongside him in second. Let's talk about that battle that's going to be going down, because all 3 players on the same amount of points. 6 points available in our last race.
That's what's available. That's those 3 players. They could, in theory, take one of the bigger trophies, but the likelihood is it's a trophy or not. And I would like to go home, having made it this far, with a trophy. I think that would be cool if I was in that point. In terms of the driver's point of view, in real life, again, through the course of a rallycross weekend, it builds. You've got to get it right in qualifying. It gives you a good grid slot. You've got to get it right. Come the semi-finals, it puts you through to the final. This is it. It's the final. It's that one last bit of focus where you mustn't drop it. You must give your best performance. You've got to nail it. This is the World Championship.
This is the World Championship. And gentlemen, it is time for our final race of the day. We're about to get into it. We're heading over to France this time. Let's get into this one. The final rallycross. Gentlemen, take it away.
Oh, Loyac, my favourite track. I love this place. Was there in February. It's so fast. The Joker lap has like minimal effect, I would say here. It is just driving ability. It is just an absolute dash from start to finish. And,
okay, so that's
loving
interesting.
This.
So Alejandro saying he thinks it's over from slot number 1 with the gloves on the inside, but this is about Unipi, who's sitting in seat number 6.
Got a back
and
grid
Robin
slot.
Johnson, who is in seat number 2. So yes, he has. So whereabouts is Unipi on the grid? You saw that, Luke, from the back.
Pretty much near the front. I was actually kicked in Yo's at the back.
Okay, kicked in Yo's at the back, and we're away from the look of the launch. We ride on board there. So Unipi was on the front row. Great news. Drops down the slot on the way into turn 1, coming up to the left-hander now. Big cut on the curbs on the inside. Unipi is in P2 here. This is good for his World Championship aspirations. Big spin in the background. Is it one of our championship favourites?
Zombie Slayer in 6th position.
Oh,
He is
that's
gone.
a disaster. Robin Johnson is gone. This is in Unipi's hands.
He's in 5th now. He's made a mistake as well.
Has he got a puncture? Unipi on a go slow as he is. He dropped a long way back. Okay, so both our championship front runners then have dropped a long way back down the running order. See, a couple of drivers have taken the Joker. Quinton Del Olmo has gone Joker. Robin Johnson has gone Joker. That's the right decision, having had a bad first lap. Now he can chase them down. Unipi is down in P5. This really is about the race between those 2. Having said that, there's only 5-6 points between the guys in 2nd, 3rd and 4th to the 2 guys who are leading this one. So out front at the minute, Alejandro Garcia,
the championship,
just a moment ago was saying that it's all over, is now leading the race here at Loyac. You can see the gap is just a second back to Nicola Steer, but we really need to be looking at Unipi.
Oh, Robin Johnson making the move here, but let's see, they both now joking. It's going to be an absolute dash here to the finish line.
Contact there.
Big mistake.
Plankin has just had contact. There was panels flying there, so we may well see the stewards getting involved afterwards. So
absolutely.
The stewards will have to look back at this and see. So Robin Johnson is behind Unipi. Unipi, this is Nicola Steer. We're riding on board with Robin Siren, who moves up the inside on the way into the Joker. And he then decides to take the Joker. So Robin Siren may have been forced into that loop by having a look up the inside there. He's felt, hops the curbs beautifully on the left and right. That's a very Solberg-style move through there. Hugs the wall on the inside, contact with the wall though on the exit.
Well, no, that wasn't him for coming from the Joker.
No, exactly, from the standard lap.
So is there an opportunity for him to make a move?
So where is
the last corner here?
Pankinen is still P4. So Unipi is still in P4 with Robin Johnson in, P5. Robin Johnson in P6. So our 2 favourites are right at the back of the pack.
Whoever finishes ahead here at this point, well, to be fair, if Robin finishes ahead of Unit, it'll go tied points. Crazy stuff here, very, very close.
Yeah, it could be very close indeed.
Oh, nearly a
contact
big off
again.
There. Who is that? Is that Alejandro in the lead? Is it that close? Oh no, Alejandro's just done a Joker lap. He's out in the front here. So Nicholas Steer in second spot.
Nicholas Steer waiting for the Joker. So Nicholas Steer is the only driver who hasn't jokered. And we're looking at him to see when he goes. So Quinten Delolmo in front of you. Nicholas Steer is actually holding up Quinten Delolmo, who's already taken the Joker. So again, this is where those tactics come in. Bit of wheel-to-wheel racing between those two.
Quinten's got the inside line here through turn 3. Oh, he's been
putting the
mugged
wall
off there.
No,
and it's been a wipe out. 3 cars now out of position here.
The bad news here is this is 100% going to the stewards. There's no question about it. So don't get excited about who's won the World Championship. There's been far too much contact in this, and that's what's on the line. We do have that. We've seen it this morning in ARX. We saw a 4-car pile up in turn 1. You know, everyone's got a little bit too excited. We've got a lap to go. Everybody's joking. It is Alejandro Garcia who is leading out front. Una P is into, so where's Una is third, and Robin Johnson is down in fifth. So this, in theory, would see Una P win the World Championship. But I'm absolutely certain that this is going to go to the stewards from the amount of contact that there's been.
I'm pretty sure it's going to go to a restart here. I'd like to see a restart.
That would be fun. That would be fun. Okay, so the final then of the very last race of the Dirt 4 World Championships for 2018, presented by Volkswagen, are very glad to have them on board. It is Alejandro Garcia who has taken the win at Loiat. Great drive by him. Quinten Delolmo comes in P2. Una P comes across the line in third from Nicholas Steer. Robin Johnson dropped down to 6th at the end of that race.
That might have been a penalty.
According to that, yes, that's more like it. Well done. According to that, we could see a world champion Una P, but there was contact in the background and we didn't see what happened there. So the guys from Codemasters and our adjudicators will take a look back at the footage from that, and that is a job I do not want.
No, nobody wants that job right now. But what a finish, gentlemen, in our rallycross race there.
Some drivers not very happy. We've got shaking heads. So whether that's a mistake or something they felt that they've been, we like to say, mugged off in rallycross. There's some people there who've not got what they wanted.
That's very true. Well, let's have a look at the provisional scoreboard from that last race. Of course, Alejandro Garcia taking home that first spot. 6 potential points. We must point out potential points. We have to have the stewards involved here to see exactly, if everything was fair, if that contact was, unjust in that race. Quinten Delolmo in second place. Una Panganen in third, Nicholas Steve in fourth, Robin Sear in fifth, and at the bottom there, Robin Johnson, unfortunately coming in that final spot. But gentlemen, I mean, we wanted action, we wanted excitement, and that is exactly what we got there.
First of all, let's not take anything away from Alejandro. He wasn't involved in any of the incidents. No. He got a great start, and from start to finish, he was leading. He did the joke on the final lap as well. He was in prime position, so if it does go to maybe a restart, potentially, he's going to really feel a bit hard done by. But he was last in our championship. Just goes to show the depth of quality here, that we potentially have had 3 different winners over the 4 stages.
Interestingly, he thought it was over. He was indicating to us before. But that goes to show you what pressure can do, because if you think it's over, if you take a relax and go, do you know what, actually I'm done here, I can't win, it takes all the pressure off. At the moment that pressure's gone, you can do it. You've all done this before, where you're practicing on the game, you're having a bit of a laugh, it's absolutely mega. You enter the daily challenge, you suck. Because you know you've got to get it done. You've got 1 run to get it right. That relaxed thing and play, it's like free practice. We see some drivers go out there and they nail it on free practice. You stick them under pressure into turn 1 and they fall apart. So lovely to see they're super relaxed in the last race, put in a mega result. But you can see some of the guys, there's real emotion on these guys' faces, and I think it's important. Everybody here, I hope you can appreciate how much effort they put in. That 20,000 people entered this competition. These are the best 6 drivers in the world on the Dirt 4 World Championship, and that's quite a show they've put on.
They've all travelled as well.
Brilliant.
They've all travelled a hell of a distance to be
competition.
Here.
Fantastic competition. Gun show.
Gun show.
Oh, there they are.
Tickets to the gun show.
The double bicep has already been seen. He's showing off now, isn't he?
He needs to work on that.
As he should after that performance.
99. Was it
1,000? 1,000. You just this man is gift worthy. If you're watching
at the moment, done any of the curls yet,
make sure that you clip all of those and make sure you tag him on Twitter and make sure that he's aware of exactly what he's just done. So anyway, I mean, at the moment, obviously, we're going to have to wait for adjudication. But I mean, what were some of your highlights from that race, gentlemen? Because I mean, as far as action was concerned, it really did have it all.
If I'm really honest, I would have preferred to have seen a cleaner race. I think everybody was trying very hard, but the race in Norway was great in terms of we saw tactics and we saw real racing. This race was a little bit more. It's always disappointing for us in real life when they all get stuck in and, Matthias Ekström round 1 of the World Championship, he's the winner, and then 2 hours later the stewards like, nah, he's not. Yeah. So we never want to see it go to the stewards. I think that's the same in any sport. You don't want the ref to make a decision which ruins the game.
That happens
all the time. Same here. But unfortunately, that's the reality of of it. And what we do know is that we have good stewards. So we've got guys who are going to be looking at this, and whatever decision comes out of there will be final, and we stand by that.
Well, we're still waiting to find out exactly who our world champion
Could be a long way.
Luke. I mean, what are your feelings on this one? You know, we might have a long wait on our hands, as we say. A lot of decisions to be made. However, Luke, I mean, some of your highlights from that race, I mean, Andrew's saying, you know, obviously a lot of contact in that race, which makes it very difficult for the stewards, but excitement for the people at home, I mean, that's one thing we definitely had there.
Absolutely. It's rallycross, and it's a contact sport. These things do happen in, you know, the top end. They're that close. You know, you're not going to expect to have 5-second gaps between the drivers. So, you know, inevitably there's going to be some action. There's going to be some barriers hit. You're going to be spinning around the wrong way. That's just a natural element of the sport. But Alejandro's performance was exceptional. Again, we can't take it away from him.
Yeah, fair enough.
Robin Siren taking the move up the inside. He like set it up for three corners, and then he took the Joker lap. He got forced to take the Joker lap, but he's got himself into that position. And obviously, the Joker lap's on the inside, so he made the position stick in the end. So that was my highlight from it. But again, we don't really want to see contact like that. But ultimately, that is the nature of the beast.
Yeah, it's very, very true. And something that's really stood out for me is, you know, just to remind everyone at home that all of the players on the stage, they qualified through different weights. You know, we had 2 PC players, 2 Xbox One players, 2 PS4 players. And when we were coming into our grand final, we were saying, you know, there seemed to be a little bit disparity maybe between some of those platforms. But, I mean, all of the drivers here today, they have been so closely matched. And that shows what the difference, you know, having the equipment can be.
It's been great to see them come together on the same kit and put in the kind of performances that we've seen them put in on their own platforms in their own rooms. You know, I say some of them may have a sim room, some may be playing in the lounge or the bedroom. You know, we don't know their home setups. They've come here and they've got the job done in front of a crowd of people at a World Championship, you know, with the pressure on in a noisy room. You know, so job done by them and job done by Codemasters too. Great to see the very special build they put together for us here. So we had a live leaderboard on the side of the screen. We had
very pretty as well.
Indicators.
Really
really. Very, very like, as the whole game is, it's very, very like the real World Championship. And, of course, that's why it's the official game of the World Rallycross Championship.
Well, some nervous faces, as you can see there. The man that we're looking at the moment is, of course, Oscaro Billy Cherokee. We're moving across. And as you see, everyone on this stage at the moment sat in their seats, quietly, just waiting to hear the results, as we are as well. And we will bring you those as soon as we possibly can. We want to make sure that everything is right. Sorry?
Maybe we just have the trophies.
I mean, I'm down.
Yeah,
I'm 100% down for that. We'll have one each. I'll obviously have the biggest one.
We just saw a gun show. I think that's too heavy for his arms.
That's true.
Absolutely.
Actually, yeah, we'll have to get maybe give him the third place, whatever happens. But as you can see there, all the players just waiting at the moment for our final results. But obviously, we're here at the Speedmachine Festival, and while we're waiting for this result to come through and this adjudication process to be done, let's talk a little bit about where we are. You know, we're at Silverstone, you know, an iconic racetrack across the world. The Speedmachine Festival. We've had a lot of fun so far. I know you've been very busy and maybe not enjoyed it. Had the chance to enjoy some of the things that have been on. But are you gonna have a dance tonight?
Not tonight, no. So sadly not. For me, the big day is it's a big
disappointment over there.
Yeah,
from
Neil Cole is disappointed in the background. He was hoping for a dance tonight. No. So for us, the big day is tomorrow. So we have a live broadcast for FIA World RX. We have another one for America's Rallycross. So this is the end of one of the 3 jobs this weekend. So you guys can enjoy a few jars tonight, and I'll just come and sort of jealously look on whilst you're having a banging time. But great atmosphere last night. You know, Friday we don't traditionally have that many people turn up to a circuit. We had some pre-practice yesterday. There's a ton of people. Everyone was having a bit of a party. It was a Ministry of Sound DJ set last night. I must admit, I was tempted to get on there.
I bet you were. I bet he was walking past. His shoulders started going a little bit. But
if you turn up to voice the TV show Stinking of Booze, I've found it tends to not go down that well. It's funny that, isn't it?
That, isn't it? I mean, I don't need to ask you what you're going to be doing tonight. Just to let you know, obviously, we're here at the Speedmachine Festival. You know, there's loads of, you know, we've got food trucks outside. You know, we've got a big music stage as well as, obviously, the Rallycross. I mean, it's a fantastic occasion. And if you have the opportunity to come down here tomorrow, obviously get involved.
Tickets still available.
Exactly, tickets still available. So make sure that you get down here. But Luke, I mean, I don't really have to ask if you're going to be involved tonight, do I? I mean, you're going to be down there. I'm not going to miss you in that, to be fair. No one will.
I've been perfecting the old truffle shuffle, so I'm going to be getting that on the go tomorrow, busting in illegal shapes, left, right, and centre. It's going to be amazing.
Oh, but I tell you, I'm actually looking for this Dizzy Rascal tonight on the main stage, and I have to say, I'm looking forward to seeing a bit of that. So we've got some good acts lined up. As I say, this one's going to be sober tomorrow night. I may have to get in disguise, get out of uniform.
He's going to have the shades on. He's going to be. There's a big smile on Neil's face. You can't see him in the background. He's like, yes, I can't wait. There's a little two-step happening in the background.
He's broken.
Get a camera on Neil just in case, just so we don't miss.
He has broken the glow sticks already.
thumbs up at the moment. There it is.
Go
Raise the
Neil.
roof.
Go Neil. It's your birthday. It's not his birthday.
Is that like a cha-cha slide?
There's a nervous look from Lottie, not quite sure what to do alongside there. But obviously Neil's enjoying himself. We're all enjoying ourselves here at the moment. Still waiting for that adjudication process to be done. It might take a little bit of time because obviously, there were a few incidents there that we have to get sorted. And I mean, it's one of those things that can cause some controversy because obviously we have to have decisions to be made, but that is why we have these the people in place to make those decisions. But
It's the World Championships.
It's the World Championships.
It has to be done properly.
We need to make sure it's done properly. You make a great point, Luke. We don't want to be giving that trophy away and that first prize and first place prize. And just to remind everybody exactly what those prizes are, because we do have some fantastic prizes available for our winner for second place and third place. First place will take an exclusive test drive in an FIA World Rallycross RX2 car. So I mean, a once in a lifetime opportunity that we've talked about, something that you just won't forget.
No, they won't forget. It's going to be mega.
It'll terrify them.
No, honestly, no, it'll be ace. It does depend. If you've got a driver's license and you've done a bit of track driving before, you can really exploit this. To be honest, if you haven't, I don't know if all these guys drive or not, and there'll be a way to arrange to be able to take that test drive up. It can be a bit overwhelming, but if you've got an idea of what you're doing, it's going to be great.
It's that easy.
That's what it is.
Is the game still on?
Anything with a sequential gearbox in it is mega. It's just great.
The hydraulic handbrake as well.
Yeah, exactly.
It is amazing.
It's a good piece of kit, and jumps. I like to think you haven't driven, have you? We need to get
I went to Lloyd. Not done a jump.
We need to do a
with
jump.
Thrustmaster, who provided all of the gear here.
Yeah.
I went to Loyac and I drove a rally car there. So yeah,
ace.
Yeah, it's
so
amazing.
The jump here is big, and if you've never jumped a car, I can't condone jumping cars on the road. That's very bad, obviously. But if you get the chance to do a jump like the one here, you can fly that jump. The car goes all light. You go light, and the harness is holding you down. Bang, and you've got to get it stopped and turned in. It's such an opportunity. If ever I get the chance to drive a competition car, I jump at it. And so whoever gets their hands on that is just going to have a great time.
I was watching earlier, and did you see how high the Excite Mini got?
Unbelievable. Everybody's flying.
Just noticed the Mini was just a little bit higher. It's like a happy car.
Yeah, no, it's great. It's great.
Well, I want to actually I'd like to see Luke in the passenger side with a driver going over, just a GoPro in front of him, just as I want it before the jump and the post-jump reaction. I was like, and then just as the bottom falls out, and just a different man. I think you'd be coming
50p,
out of that.
5p time.
We're just a few minutes away now. I'm hearing in my ear, which is good news. We're getting closer and closer to a final decision, and of course, we want to crown our first ever Dirt World Championship, and it's such a fantastic setting to the guy. We have to say, Codemasters, done a fantastic job, choosing this location, having that real life comparison to what we've seen on the stage here with the game itself and these drivers. And I mean, you really can see, some of the similarities between what these guys are doing. And I know you love, obviously, when you're commentating this to highlight some of those things that really are similar.
I do, and I've really enjoyed this. As I said, Codemasters asked me to do this, but I was involved in the last version of the game as well, and it's an honour to be asked. But I was a little bit worried, would I be relevant? Because I play the game. I play the game a lot, but I play for fun. And I wasn't sure how relevant it would be, but when you look at how close the game is to real life, it translates across perfectly. And I've enjoyed commentating this as much as I enjoy commentating the real thing. So I can't wait for the day when we can get these guys to virtually race live with the guys who are on the circuit. And I know that technology is slowly coming to gaming, but imagine if you can line up on the start line at Lowiat with Kristoffersen and co in a virtual world. I'm going to be loving that.
It's amazing. And we heard from Ollie Solberg earlier as well, and he was saying, he plays this game and, what his best lap times were. And it'd be interesting to compare, his best lap time against maybe some of the guys here. Well, obviously, the guys on the stage, they do this, they're playing this game pretty much every day to be the best in the world. But I find that fascinating to see that comparison between someone, who does it in real life and who does it on these sims.
He games really hard. Oliver's really into it. But what I'm hoping as well is if you're at home and you've seen the lap times and you think, actually, I can do this, enter next year.
That's it. We've had 20,000 entrants this year. What do we want to see next year? Should we give them a target?
Yeah.
20,001.
20,001.
There we go. Andrew's going to be sat at home now, and he's like, we've got 20,000. I'm jumping in. I'm ready.
I tried. I got nowhere.
Really?
It was terrible. But it's got to be done, isn't it?
Well, whatever. I want to see you two go up against each other. I think that's what we need to see.
Messages. Okay.
racing.
I have no idea what that says. Is it? So it's good stuff. Yeah, it's good stuff.
Yeah.
Yes.
I think that means yes.
Yeah,
Right,
no,
we're
that's
gonna go.
cool, and that's really good. But that's great, you know, that means friends are watching at home, and I hope we've had a great audience for Dirt 4 World Championship, and I hope everyone's enjoyed it, you know,
Yeah,
as
of
much as
course.
we've enjoyed bringing it.
You know, we want to thank everyone for joining us, of course. You know, it's been a fantastic, it's not just today as well. You know, we had the quarterfinals, we had the semi-finals, some fantastic action.
quarterfinals were
We
long.
had the
Yeah,
quarterfinals. But it was a bonding experience for us, wasn't it? It's one thing that we'll never forget. And obviously, now that we're here at the finals,
We started in
the brotherhood has
2017 and
continued.
then did that quarter-final in 2018.
We had a lot
That's
of
what it
ways to
felt
get through.
like.
We started off with 20,000. You've got to whittle them down somehow.
We had the final has been like a rallycross race, and let's be honest, the quarterfinals were a little bit like the 24 Hours of Le Mans. Not quite, but it was long. But it was great, and as you say, we whittled it down. I
We
don't know
bonded. We did bond.
We did.
We were forced to bond.
I don't know how you guys until you left us, Luke. I don't know.
We managed to get it into
My
every
children needed me. My children needed me. They're up there. Look at them sad
kids.
faces.
I don't know how you guys feel, but I feel like we got the best 6 guys through to the World Championship final. You know, I think
definitely.
through the process of it, and
Yeah.
I'd love to see how many of them will enter again next year, and whether we'll see any of them, you know, reappearing.
I think this will inspire a lot more people to get involved. Every tournament you get, like I've read some of the chat from our previous broadcast, and you get the odd person there. Oh, well, these aren't the quickest on the leaderboard for this.
Enter them, get involved,
Enter them.
prove it.
Yeah, come prove it. Come
prove
show
it.
us how good you really are.
Bring it.
It's one thing talking the talk, there's walking the walk as well as we always say.
Absolutely.
So if you want to get involved, obviously, you know, head over to the Dirt website. You know, there's a fantastic website available as well for the Dirt World Championships that gives you all the information you need to know. So great to see everyone getting involved, and of course the viewers as well. Thank you for joining us, and we're still waiting for confirmation. We are getting closer and closer as every second passes to crowning our first world champion here for Dirt. But before we do that, gentlemen, there's only one thing we've got to do, and that is recap the entire tournament we've had here today, starting with our first stage of rally.
All 10 hours of it, or just today?
No, just today.
So yeah, this was the Sweden, narrow roads, snow banks. We saw the cars rolled. You know, it didn't quite go according to plan. That was the points after that. Ascaro Unip was leading after winning the first of the rally stage. It was a brilliant performance. Norway, in fact, there we saw from our onboard that one of the drivers ended up into the Joker when they didn't want to go there.
Trying to take someone.
Yeah,
wasn't he?
it was a great race. Yeah, it was door to door. We saw some wheel banging, but it wasn't too harsh. That was how it stood after round 2. Oscaro, Unip and Zombie Slayer equal on 9 points each. Into the dark, into the forests of Australia.
That is
It was a long stage. It was a faster stage. That was Unip taking out the finish line. And those were the standings, 15 to 14. And then at the start of the rallycross race, those guys had a disaster. They were at the back of the field, and that meant then that we just weren't sure what was going to happen. This is the most contact I think we've seen at any point during the championship. And that's meant that we've had to be with the stewards.
Well, here we
A lot
go.
of pressure on.
We are ready, gentlemen. It is time. We've had the adjudication process done. I know. You don't know yet. What we're going to do is very, very soon announce our first ever Dirt World Champion. 20,000 drivers from across the world have been involved. Just 6 left on the stage today, but only one can be crowned your champion. Ladies and gentlemen, the first ever Dirt World Champion is Unip. Congratulations to him. Fantastic performance. Lottie, it's over to you.
Unip, congratulations. Neil is holding such an incredible trophy right now. You have done it. You are the first ever Dirt 4 World Champion. How are you feeling?
Amazing, I cannot believe it. I mean, that last race was so bad. Like, I think everyone made so much mistake. There was so much pressure on that last race, so yeah, feels amazing.
It really added to the suspense, but you've done it. Neil, I mean, an impressive overall performance from Unip.
He's definitely a flying Finn, and I think Finnish for congratulations is on it a lot, and you were on it a lot. So congratulations.
Congratulations, take your trophy.
There you go.
Amazing. And of course, you've got an incredible prize. You get to drive a rally car for real. How is it going to feel? Neil, you know about this a lot more than I do.
Just let that sink in for a minute. You're going to go to Sweden. You're going to be part of the Oldsbergs family. Drive an RX2 car. That's 300 brake horsepower, 4-wheel drive for realsies. Now, do you drive yet?
No, I haven't really driven any cars. Like, it's amazing.
Okay. Do you think you'll be able to do what you did there in a real car?
Possibly, yes. We will see.
There's only one way to find out.
Yeah.
I can't wait for this. Good luck driving the real thing, and honestly, enjoy every moment of this. You're the first ever name on that trophy, so congratulations, Unip. Really well deserved.
Thank you, I definitely do.
Mark, it's back to you from our champion.
Thank you very much, Lottie. Fantastic to finally get that confirmation. Una P, your first ever Dirt World Champion. That will be in the history books. No one can ever take that away from him. A fantastic performance, and we have to say, the deserved winner.
Yeah, absolutely. A really good performance. Won both the rally stages, so that's 2 out of the 4, 50% done. The rally cross races didn't quite go his way. It would have been interesting to see what the pace would have been. Here, our trophy is aloft behind us. Good to see. But job done. And it was interesting, he said as well, although he doesn't show the pressure on his face, I think we could see pressure in a number of the drivers' eyes. There's a certain way that somebody looks when they're quite emotional, the pressure's on. We saw people taking deep breaths. This was a world championship. We've got a world champion. I think it's a good one.
And Luke, what about you? I mean, the man who deserved to lift the trophy without doubt.
Yeah, he showed his promise in the quarterfinals. He showed it in the semi-finals, and appropriately showed it in the final as well. Obviously, our first ever world champion, which is great to see. Just exceptional. The whole competition, just a standout, really. Obviously, he had the hardest qualification as well on PC. The standard was a lot higher on PC, and it just goes to show he shone through and he got that result. Fair play to him.
It really was fantastic from him, and congratulations to him, on that performance. I mean, we have to give congratulations to every single player that was involved today as well. Remember that we keep going on about it, but 20,000 drivers, and now we're down to just 6. We have our champion, but it was drivers from across the world as well, wasn't it, gentlemen? It wasn't like a certain region. We had Finland, we had Sweden, we had South Africa, France, Germany. I mean, incredible array of talent from all over the world, which shows the global reach that Dirt has.
Absolutely, yeah. People are playing this everywhere. It's a world championship. We travel the world. I'm glad that the whole world is embracing this fantastic sport. So, rallying is where I started my journey into motorsport. I love it as a sport. Rallycross is where I am now. It's fantastic to see the two together in a brilliant game like Dirt 4. It's been great to be involved. So, yes, well done, boys.
And a big thumbs up for you.
Thank you.
Let's just quickly remind the people at home, just before we got underway, who you picked as your favourite, Andrew?
I picked Una P.
There he is. That's why we have him. He's the expert.
Thank you very much.
Luke, who did you pick?
I picked kicked in Yo.
Oh, unfortunately, it's what we expected from you, Luke.
He's done us proud, though. He's done us very, very proud. All 6 of the guys were really, really good as well. Let's not forget that. They are all exceptional talents.
Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. I hope they've enjoyed the experience too, because it is a special experience. I was chatting to a couple of the guys on your forum and just saying, look, good luck at the weekend. He was like, I know it will be something I'll never forget. And that's great. It's a world championship. It's fantastic.
Yeah, and it really has been a world championship. Like we mentioned, players from all over the world involved. We're down to 6, and the champion here. I mean, I think the thing that's really stood out for me from Una P was just his consistency. We saw certain players, and certain drivers, their ability they sort of were stronger in rallies, some were stronger in rally cross, but across the board, he was just absolutely fantastic, and that is why he is your first ever Dirt World Champion. But gentlemen, I need to thank you for joining me for this journey. It has been absolutely fantastic. Andrew, pleasure. I know you've got to get elsewhere. You've got a lot more work to do. It's been fantastic to have you on the desk. Luke,
thank you for
absolutely brilliant to have you as well. Always making me laugh, and it's been an absolute pleasure to have you as well. And obviously, we want to thank Neil. We want to thank Lottie. It's been absolutely incredible to have those. That is amazing. Fantastic to see those guys bonded. But that's going to do it all from us at the desk. It's going to do it from us here at Silverstone. We have our first ever Dirt World Champion, and that man is Una P.